The Galactic Council chamber fell into absolute silence as the holographic display flickered to life. Ambassador Caleb stood at the podium, his weathered hands gripping the edges as he prepared to address the representatives of 47 species. But it wasn't his prepared speech that would capture their attention today. Esteemed delegates, Caleb began, his voice steady despite the weight of what he was about to reveal. I come before you not with words of diplomacy, but with a recording that will challenge everything you believe you know about humanity. The chamber erupted in a cacophony of clicks, whistles, and synthesized protests. The Vrak's representative, a towering creature of crystalline structure, raised 3 of its appendages in objection. Ambassador, we did not convene to watch your species' propaganda. This is no propaganda. Caleb replied, his jaw set firm. This is the truth of what happened on Dracon Prime 3 cycles ago. He activated the recording. The hologram expanded, filling the center of the chamber with images of a world that made even the most battle-hardened delegates recoil. Dracon Prime, a planet whose very name inspired terror across the civilized galaxy. Its surface was a hellscape of volcanic ranges and acidic seas, home to the most formidable predator ever documented, the Cronoth dragon. The Galactic Biological Concordance had classified the Cronoth as a Class X extinction threat. A single adult could reduce a battalion to ash within minutes. Its scales could deflect plasma fire, its breath could melt starship hulls, and its intelligence rivaled that of most sentient species. 15 documented encounters, 15 complete annihilations. No survivors. Until now, the recording showed a human research outpost, barely more than a cluster of prefabricated shelters on a plateau. Then, emerging from a canyon of obsidian rock, came the dragon. Even through the hologram, its presence was overwhelming, a creature of nightmare and majesty. 60 meters from snout to tail, scales like molten rubies, eyes that burned with ancient fury. The delegates watched as the human researchers scrambled. Weapons being raised, evacuation protocols initiated. Standard procedure, logical response. But then, a small figure emerged from one of the shelters, a child. The Kthuri delegate made a sound like shattering glass. Impossible. They allowed a juvenile in a Class X zone? Caleb's expression remained neutral. My daughter, Ivy, she was 7 standard years old. We didn't allow anything. She slipped away from the shelter when the alarms began. On the hologram, little Ivy walked toward the dragon with steps that seemed impossibly calm. She wore a simple blue dress, her dark hair pulled back in a ponytail that bounced with each step. In her hands, she carried something, a stuffed toy, worn from years of companionship. The dragon's massive head swung toward her, nostrils flaring. Sensors indicated its body temperature rising, the telltale sign of an impending flame attack. Every human in the recording stood frozen, unable to intervene without triggering the creature's hunting instinct. Turn back. Small one, the dragon's voice rumbled, translated through the universal communicator. Few knew that Cronoth could speak. Those who discovered this fact rarely lived to report it. I am Scareth, the eternal flame, devourer of the Ashwind Legion. I have ended civilizations. I do not wish to add you to my count of sorrows. Ivy stopped, but not in fear. She tilted her head, studying the massive creature with the fearless curiosity only a child could possess. You're sad, she said simply. The dragon's eyes widened, molten gold flickering with something the sensors struggled to classify. Sad, I am fury incarnate. I am lonely, Ivy interrupted, taking another step forward. My daddy says that sometimes people get angry when they're really just sad and lonely. Is that why you hurt people? The chamber was so quiet that the hum of the life support systems seemed deafening. Scareth lowered his enormous head, bringing one eye level with the tiny human child. I hurt people because they come with weapons and greed, seeking to claim what is mine. They see a beast to conquer, a trophy to mount. I don't have weapons, Ivy said, holding up her stuffed toy, a threadbare rabbit with one ear missing. I just have Mr. Hops. He's my best friend. Would you like to meet him? What happened next would be analyzed by xenobiologists for decades to come. The most deadly predator in the known galaxy. A creature that had single-handedly held off colonization efforts for 3 centuries, lowered its head further until its snout nearly touched the ground. Ivy reached up and placed her small hand on the dragon's scaled nose. The sensor readings went haywire. The dragon's body temperature dropped to normal levels. Its neural patterns shifted from aggressive to something the AI struggled to categorize, until it finally settled on a label. Protective. "You are not afraid," Scarith whispered, wonder threading through his ancient voice. "Should I be?" Ivy asked. "You have sad eyes." My mommy had sad eyes before she went to the stars. Daddy says she's watching over us now. Who watches over you? The dragon was silent for a long moment. When he finally spoke, his voice carried a weight of millennia. "No one, small one. Not for a very, very long time." Ivy smiled then, bright and unshadowed by the galaxy's cruelties. "I can be your friend, if you want." Friends watch over each other. And then, in a moment that defied every prediction model, every behavioral algorithm, every military strategy ever devised against the Chronith, Ivy stood on her tiptoes and pressed a gentle kiss to the dragon's scales. The hologram captured it all, the dragon's eyes closing, a rumble emanating from deep within his chest that sounded almost like a purr, and the researchers staring in absolute disbelief as the most feared creature in the galaxy nuzzled the human child with infinite gentleness. Caleb paused the recording, letting the image freeze, child and dragon, the smallest and the mightiest. In a moment of perfect trust, 3 cycles later, Caleb continued. Dracon Prime has become a protected world under joint human Chronith stewardship. Scarith serves as its guardian and no longer attacks settlements. He asked for only one thing in return. "What?" the Vrax delegate asked, its crystalline voice barely above a whisper. "That Ivy visit him once a month. He teaches her the histories of the galaxy. She teaches him to laugh again." Caleb swept his gaze across the chamber. "You've spent centuries asking what makes humanity dangerous. What makes us worthy of a council seat? Here's your answer. We see persons where you see monsters. We offer friendship where you offer fear. A child accomplished what your armies could not through strength, but through compassion." The delegates sat in stunned silence as Caleb gathered his materials. "The human delegation rests," he said quietly, and walked from the chamber, leaving behind representatives from 47 species, each forced to confront an uncomfortable truth. Perhaps they had been the monsters all along.